Well, peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome to the Sunday edition of the Power Chat with Takia and Nancy. And my name is Takia Geddes. I am a life and lifestyle activation coach, kinetic specialist, and the creator of the Kinetic Life Revolution, where we help heart-centered seekers and leaders to align with their essential nature and release all that does not serve any of their bodies, their physical, emotional, relational, spiritual bodies. And I think this is the work, right? This is what we do to continue to move more deeply into our purpose, to expand as we expand our awareness and move also the world into a greater sense of consciousness and state of consciousness, which in turn makes life more, I think, juicy. I love that word, and peaceful and harmonic for all. Right? So this is the work, and this joyful play, as it will also be called many, many times if you listen to me, because I really do think that we're here to experience for experience sake, right? Not just always have an agenda, but to really enjoy the process of life. And so speaking of, segueing perfectly into our topic today, which is change. So, change is the nature of our very existence, right? We're always experiencing some type of change, witnessing it, experiencing it internally. We ourselves are different, literally people, human beings. Our physical self is different every 7 years. Every day, cells are dying and new ones are being formed, and we are healing and breaking down and healing. And there's just all kinds of change happening all the time. And so often, as creatures of habit, as it so happens, which I think is a really interesting joke. This is why I know that God has a sense of humor. God, supreme being, the all of the all, source, whatever name that you use to identify the source of all that is. I respect that and honor the name. And just so long as we can agree we're talking about the same entity, I think it's really all good. And I think good is just God with an extra O. So, this, I love tangents, as you can see. I love exploring the concept of change, because there's such a juxtaposition between our physical established experience here and the nature of our duality, which is a spiritual being that is all of the things, right? And we have relativity, which allows us as humans to see ourselves more clearly, due to being able to see our reflection in each other, and also what we're not, what we don't necessarily want to be or have or do. And that makes things more clear. Chris helps us crystallize what we do want to be, have, do, become. So change, as I said, is the nature of life, right? It's just always evolving, always changing. Life always wants more life. So there's a constant expansion, even in the universe, right? The universe is expanding at a rapid rate, right? So if you watch any of the many budding shows on the latest science on the universe, and you'll learn things about the expansion that will help you to really see that we are microcosms of the same, right? And so I think this is a really key and important point to really be aware of, so that you don't just get caught in kind of the mire of the smallness of our minds, right? And the smallness of what we think, and the limitations that we create on a daily basis based on our experiences. Because it's really easy, when we experience disappointment, we have expectations that don't get met, then we start to kind of make our world smaller and smaller and smaller out of fear. Fear is it can be a very powerful motivator. I think it's a really important aspect of life to also grow our awareness around, because often it can run our lives and we don't even realize it. I will do probably more than one, but I'll do at least another video on fear itself, because I do think it's so important and a great place to start if you're looking to create true transformation in your life. It's actually one of the focal points of the Harmonic Body Experience, which is the program that I designed. And so change, really becoming aligned with developing a greater relationship with change can really help us to navigate life without such a heightened degree of stress around it. Um, and I think developing also a healthier relationship with uncertainty, not needing to know. These are facets of change that are summoned within us. Facets of our personalities, facets of our patterns, and concepts that if we can, really give some attention to, we can help ourselves to really hone in on ways to support ourselves in creating the lives that we want, rather than feeling like we're being directed by our schedules or directed by other people's expectations, etc. Right? We could go on and on about how outward influences can sometimes almost feel like they're controlling our lives. And so, our pointed and intention and our pointed focus on these internal drivers, like our awareness, right, which is the starting point, right? Expanding our awareness is the starting point of any change that we seek to create, because we cannot change that which we are not aware, in an intentional way, right? And so I think there are ripples that continue to, ripple out, as ripples do. They continue to go in waves and affect, make change and affect things in ways that we'll never know about. And if we are really honed in on our initial intention, we can really, enjoy the process of creation in a way that gives us an empowered feeling about our energetic presence here, about our purpose, about our relationships, about the work that we do, about our ability to care for self and these bodies that we have, our ability to care for ourselves and our mental health, care for our spiritual health, and also to develop the kind of relationships and with the kind of authenticity and depth and intimacy that we truly seek, and that gives our life the kind of substance and feeling of satisfaction that we all desire. And so I know that often, sometimes, a slight change in perception can be a powerful seed planted that can send us into a direction in our lives that can create massive change, or it can also be a transformative moment in time that begins to just change everything instantaneously. And so today I'm hoping that, we can vibe on this concept, and perhaps someone will get something, a seed or a transformative moment, that allows you to just live a more purposeful and satisfactory and fulfilling life, right? And so let's talk about that, right? So change, when I want to talk about something specific, to help us kind of hone in, because it's such an expansive topic. So change itself, right? The concept of change itself can be applied to all aspects of life. And so I think it helps if we kind of just pick one particular aspect and give it our focused attention. And so let's choose wellness, for example. So let's say we want to get on a path that we want to, let's say, just make better choices in our nourishment, right? And we need to follow a process for actually identifying what the obstacles are to us not already having what we say we want, right? So if I want to have good habits that support my nourishment of my temple and my mind, and also that support me in my work life and in my relationships, then there's a process. And it begins with having the awareness of what is disallowing that to flow naturally, right? And because if you are human, which we all are, and you go food shopping and you buy things and then you eat them, What is it that helps to influence the choices of foods that you buy? What influences that? And if we have enough experience, and there's so much with media and with information flying on the internet, there's enough information in the world about how to eat in a healthful way. And so what keeps some people from actually following through on what they know? Now, granted, there is a lot of confusing and contradictory information and also available. However, there are some people who manage to actually just choose well and be well. And so what's the separation, right? What's the difference? And, ultimately it comes down to our personal patterns, right? Our ideas and beliefs about food, our beliefs about ourselves. It comes down to our physiology, the cravings that we've developed based on our past choices, and our state of health that's developed as a result of our genetic makeup, but then also our lifestyle choices that have, formed the current state of our health. And so there are a lot of different aspects of choice making that come into play when you're creating a lifestyle or creating a life or creating a work life, a relationship, right? So what is it that determines those choices, right? So our perspective, right? It's our beliefs that we hold. It's whether or not we're living from a state of fear or if we're able to live from a state of freedom, right? One that allows us to make choices from our soul self versus from our past experiences and trying to avoid certain deep emotions or feelings or outcomes, right? And so that's what we're talking about here. Like, how do we align ourselves? And I'll go back to the beginning and I'll say that we have to develop an awareness of what is disallowing, and that's going to be different for everyone, and that sometimes can be influenced, like I said, by a something you read or a conversation you have, or it could be something that you come to and you realize that you need help with. And this is my my calling, is to assist people in the navigation of their journey back to self. And it's really my passion, and I love to assist people and facilitate the awakening of self and the remembrance of self. And because when you really know, trust, love, accept self, there are so many less obstacles to navigate. And you also are able to clearly design a plan to create that which you desire most. And I think that's really the key here. So staying in line with the topic today, which was change, and because it's such a great and grand part of life on a daily basis, let's just say that the first step in really beginning to harmonize with the concept of change and navigate it in a healthy way, in a way that serves you the best, let's say that, is to be aware of what's disallowing it. And if you can identify that, then there are a plethora of other paths that can be, and steps that can be laid out to assist you. And then I would say, that acceptance of what is really, being in a state where you have the ability to really be in the moment with what is and not fight it, is one of the primary foundational concepts of the opening the door to that harmony, and opening the door to identifying what the obstacles are. I'll give you an example of how much resistance plays a part in our life, and the disallowing of harmony with what is. It thwarts our ability to make a choice. And choice to me is the direct connection to freedom, right? Because when you have freedom, you have choice. When you have choice, you have freedom. And there isn't always that same reciprocal relationship with all things that we claim. So if you're driving in traffic and someone is riding next to you and their pace is such that because of the distance of the car in front and behind you, you can't get over. Like there's no way to actually get over unless you slow down or speed up or do some other, sport. So I would say race car driving maneuver, and to get around them to get over, right? This situation for many people could be very derailing. It can throw off someone's entire day. It can send them into a spiral of anger, of resentment, of self-talk, of yelling and screaming. It can be the lit fuse that explodes your entire state of peace, and you implode, and you have the same physiological reactions as you do when you're experiencing fight or flight, and the level of anger that you reach when and it's within your own container, right? Just you in your car, based on the thoughts that you have about what's happening. Just take that in for a moment, right? Because that is just as one example of the many, many possibilities that occur in our lives on a daily basis. And people are just doing what they're doing. Our perception of what they're doing, usually making it personal that they're doing it to us. But even if, we usually make it personal. Well, whatever our perception is of what's going on, we have a dialogue that we run through that creates dis-ease in our bodies. Dis-ease, right? Frenetic energy, anger, upset, thoughts that are, disjointing to our peace and to our heart space. And that moment is treasure, right? In that moment, when you feel yourself reacting, is where the gold is for you to find the answers to your pathway to your freedom, right? In those moments when you are peakedly excited by something someone is doing, these are the moments. So perhaps you won't squander them from this moment on. You might just take a breath and observe yourself doing what you're doing in reaction to what the world is doing. And in that moment, if you can take one just internal step back and create a little space between you and the situation, you create space for choice, whether to continue on in that same path or choose another. And so I'm going to leave it there. I think this is a conversation that we can continue to have, and there is more to that. But I think that this is a wonderful place to start, because it's such a inertia is a really important concept in our ability to create, right? Because inertia says that something continues on in the same direction unless acted upon by a force, right? So I'm paraphrasing, obviously. And it also takes a ton more energy to start something, and it's definitely to start something in a new direction, than it does to continue on in the same. And that's why it's so easy for us to stay in the momentum of our victimhood, to stay in the momentum of our self-talk patterns, to stay in homeostasis, which is our natural sense of home, right? Our ego loves to keep us the same because it keeps the ego relevant, and it loves to have us project our thoughts into the future because it keeps the ego relevant, knows it's going to be around for a while. It loves to drag us back into the past, right? Ego's not our enemy, however. It gives us our personality, and we need it to have an identity as a personality. So it's not a bad thing. Just to be aware of who's leading, and that you have the opportunity and ability to create choice for yourself and determine for yourself how to respond. And so change is constant, and it's not just a cliche or an adage. It is constant. And so our ability to develop a relationship with change that serves us is one of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves on our path to personal development. To have a greater appreciation for and a healthier relationship with uncertainty is a gift to ourselves. To not have to know it all, and especially not to have to know it all right now, and to be able to move without knowing it all, without even knowing a lot, but even just feeling that it's the right thing to do, to be able to follow inspiration without needing to know, to be able to act confidently with faith, is a gift that can serve us greatly. So on that note, I would love to hear your feedback about today's video. We, myself and Nancy Lewis Hill, are actually usually together on Sundays, where we're sharing our thoughts and experiences with you, to give examples and to share with you ways that we've navigated specific experiences in our lives that could perhaps contribute to yours. And we'd love to hear your feedback. So if this video is something that you enjoyed or want more of, we'd love also to hear what other topics you would like discussed and expounded on, and perhaps even offered some strategies for certain challenges or obstacles that you might be perceiving in your own life. We would love it all in the comments. You can check us out on Facebook in the Kinetic Life Revolution tribe. We have a community there. Also, livetruenow.com. Check me out. There's a link to Kinetic Life and everything that you need to know and want to know about us on paper. And I would really love to assist you in any way that I can for free consultation. So if you comment below, hey, reach out. I would definitely love to chat with you for 30 minutes about how to begin my journey. I'm here for you. So on that note, know that you are more than enough. You are necessary to the unfoldment of the cosmos, and you are deserved and deserved of love, and you are love. And I am complete. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you next week.